While the threats to America have changed, the need for victory has not. We are fighting shadowy, entrenched enemies using the tools of terror and guerrilla war, yet we are finding new tactics and new weapons to attack and defeat them. This revolution in our military is only beginning, and it promises to change the face of battle. Afghanistan has been a proving ground for this new approach. These past 2 months have shown that an innovative doctrine and high-tech weaponry can shape and then dominate an unconventional conflict. The brave men and women of our military are rewriting the rules. Of war with new technologies and old values like courage and honor. And they have made this nation proud. Our commanders are gaining a real-time picture of the entire battlefield. And are able to get targeting information from sensor to shooter almost instantly. Our intelligence professionals and special forces have cooperated in battle-friendly with battle-friendly. Afghan forces fighters who know the terrain, who know the Taliban, and who understand the local. Culture. And our special forces have the technology to call in precision air strikes along with the flexibility to direct those strikes from horseback, in the first cavalry charge of the 21st century. This combination real-time intelligence, local allied forces, special forces. And precision air power has really never been used before. The conflict in Afghanistan has taught us more about the future of our Military. Then a decade of blue ribbon panels and think tank symposiums. The Predator is a good example. This unmanned aerial vehicle is able to circle over enemy forces, gather intelligence. Transmit information instantly back to commanders, then fire on targets with extreme accuracy. Before the war, the Predator had skeptics, because it did not fit the old ways. Now it is clear the military does not have enough unmanned vehicles. We're entering an era in which unmanned vehicles of all kinds will take on greater importance in space, on land, in the air, and at sea. Precision-guided munitions also offer great promise. In the Gulf War, these weapons were the exception, while in Afghanistan, they have been the majority of the munitions we have used. We're striking with greater effectiveness, at greater range, with fewer civilian casualties. More and more, our weapons can hit moving targets. When all of our military can continuously locate and track moving targets, with surveillance from air and space, warfare will be truly revolutionized. The need for military transformation was clear before the conflict in Afghanistan, and before September the 11th. Here at the Citadel in 1999, I spoke of keeping the peace by redefining war. On our terms. The same recommendation was made in the strategic review that Secretary Rumsfeld briefed me on last August, a review that I fully endorse. What's different today is our sense of urgency, the need to build this future force while fighting a present war. It's like overhauling an engine while you're going at 80 miles an hour. Yet we have no other choice. Our military has a new and essential mission. For states that support terror, it's not enough that the consequences be costly, they must be devastating. The more credible this reality, the more likely that regimes will change their behavior making. It's less likely that America and our friends will need to use overwhelming force against them. To build our future force, the armed services must continue to attract America's best people. With good pay and good living conditions. Our military culture must reward new thinking, innovation, and experimentation. Congress must give defense leaders the freedom to innovate, instead of micromanaging the Defense Department. And every service and every constituency of our military. Must be willing to sacrifice some of their own pet projects. Our war on terror cannot be used to justify obsolete bases, obsolete programs. Or obsolete weapons systems. Every dollar of defense spending must meet a single test. It must help us build the decisive power we will need to win the wars of the future. Our country is united in supporting a great cause and in supporting those who fight for it. We will give our men and women in uniform every resource. Every weapon, every tool they need to win the long battle that lies ahead. America's next priority to prevent mass terror is to protect against the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction and the means to deliver them. I wish I could report to the American people that this threat does not exist. That our enemy is content with car bombs and box cutters, but I cannot. One former Al-Qaeda member has testified in court that he was involved in an effort 10 years ago to obtain nuclear materials. And the leader of Al-Qaeda calls that effort a religious duty. Abandoned Al-Qaeda houses in Kabul contained diagrams for crude weapons of mass destruction. And as we all know, terrorists have put anthrax into the US mail, and used sarin gas in a Tokyo subway. And almost every state that actively sponsors terror is known to be seeking weapons. Of mass destruction and the missiles to deliver them at longer and longer ranges. Their hope is to blackmail the United States into abandoning our war on terror. And forsaking our friends and allies and security commitments around the world. Our enemies are bound for disappointment. America will never be blackmailed, and we will never forsake our commitment to liberty. To meet our new threats, I have directed my National Security Advisor and my Homeland Security Director to develop a comprehensive strategy on proliferation. Working with other countries, we will strengthen non-proliferation treaties and toughen export controls. Together, we must keep the world's most dangerous technologies. Out of the hands of the world's most dangerous people. A crucial partner in this effort is Russia, a nation we are helping to dismantle strategic weapons. Reduce nuclear material, and increase security at nuclear sites. Our two countries will expand efforts to provide peaceful employment. For scientists who formerly worked in Soviet weapons facilities. The United States will also work with Russia to build a facility to destroy tons of nerve agent. I'll request an overall increase in funding to support this vital mission. Even as we fight to prevent proliferation, we must prepare for every possibility. At home, we must be better prepared to detect, protect against. And respond to the potential use of weapons of mass destruction. Abroad, our military forces must have the ability to fight. And win against enemies who would use such weapons against us. Biodefense has become a major initiative of ours. This year we've already requested nearly $3 billion additional dollars for biodefense, more than doubling the level of funding prior to September the 11th. The attacks on our nation made it even more clear that we need to build limited and effective defenses against a missile attack. Our enemies seek every chance and every means to do harm to our country. Our forces, and our friends. And we will not permit it. Suppose the Taliban and the terrorists had been able to strike America or important allies with a ballistic missile. Our coalition would have become fragile, the stakes in our war much, much higher. We must protect Americans and our friends against all forms of terror. Including the terror that could arrive on a missile. Last week we conducted another promising test of our missile defense technology. For the good of peace. We're moving forward with an active program to determine what works and what does not work. In order to do so, we must move beyond the 1972 Anti-Ballistic Missile Treaty. A treaty that was written in a different era, for a different enemy. America and our allies must not be bound to the past. We must be able to build the defenses we need against the enemies of the 21st century. Our third and final priority in the fight against mass terror is to strengthen the advantage that good intelligence gives our country. Every day I make decisions influenced by the intelligence briefing of that morning. To reach decisions, a president needs more than data and information. A president needs real and current knowledge and analysis of the plans. Intentions, and capabilities of our enemies. The last several months have shown that there is no substitute for good intelligence officers. People on the ground. These are the people who find the targets, follow our enemies, and help us disrupt their evil plans. The United States must rebuild our network of human intelligence. And we will apply the best new technology to gather intelligence on the new threats. Sophisticated systems like Global Hawk, an unmanned surveillance plane. Are transforming our intelligence capabilities. Our technological strengths produce great advantages, and we will build on them.